looking like it's pretty well. Now we've only got 12 shots. We've got to make them count here. And we only got a hit out of it. That's very unfortunate. I cannot really do anything about this F9 F8 now. Except for deterring him or doing this. No, maybe not. Come on. There we go. I hope that helps the team. We got a kill from that. We actually got a kill from that. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode on War Thunder with me, Spacefish, and welcome back then today to the Me-163B, one of the lower tier jet fighters in the German tech tree, and one that has been around for pretty much however long I can think. I've had this thing for absolute ages, and I'm pretty sure that it was one of my first, if not the first jet I ever owned. I'm thinking I was a bit I'm thinking I had the F-80C a bit earlier, but got the Me-163 pretty much right after, and I have been enjoying the heck out of it ever since. This little rocket is quite fun to use. I really can't quite find the right words for it right now. But yeah, it is actually a rocket. It's not really a jet. It is a rocket. You're basically sitting on rocket fuel in this thing, and well, this thing in the Second World War was very notorious for it just exploding on landing if there was even a tad bit of fuel left, because it was that lethal and that crazy. It is an insane plane, but it is just super fun to use in War Thunder, and honestly actually quite efficient if you know how to play it right. For a start, you get two 30mm MK108 cannons, which are quite slow in terms of bullet velocity, but once those bullets do connect to your targets, they will absolutely disintegrate. You get, as I said, a little jet engine, no, not jet engine, rocket engine in the back here with a takeoff thrust of 1,700 kilograms of force, and well, this thing is quite insane in that you have a rate of climb of 37 meters a second and a battle rating of 8.0. And basically, the higher you get with this thing, the more efficient the rocket engine becomes. And on top of that, it is a really light plane, so the higher up you get, the more rocket fuel you burn, the more efficient that engine also is, and the acceleration through this rocket engine is absolutely insane. That said, you don't get that much fuel with it. I think it's like a 5 or 6 minute fuel tank max, so you do very much need to conserve that, and it does in that way have quite the unique playstyle to it, just as it did also have a quite unique style in the Second World War. As back then, its inventor actually was very well known for building gliders, and this thing is kind of also built as that, a glider. The idea behind the rocket engine being you get to altitude, you glide, you look for your targets, and then you actually engage, and well, you land the thing with no fuel left in the plane. And that's very much how it works for me in War Thunder most of the time as well, with a little bit of a difference that if I do land this thing while I still have fuel in it, it doesn't just explode on the landing, which is quite a nice caveat because everything else would be quite uncomfortable. You don't get real landing gear with this plane. You've just got these little tires down here, which once you take off actually fall off the plane, and then to land back on the tarmac you actually get a little skid that extends out from down here and that little wheel in the back here. So it is not the easiest thing in the world to land, but if you do play around with it a bit, it is very manageable once you have a little bit of experience. Now for turn time, you've got 21 seconds, which is honestly quite decent. I mean, it's super small, it's super light, and it is pretty nimble. The roll rate is very fine on this little plane, and you also get this humongous rudder, which actually is kind of interesting because you do not get air brakes on this plane, but if you use your rudder instead, you can just use that as your air brake. It is super effective. It slows you down like you just threw an anchor out behind you, and well, kind of a core piece of the playstyle of this very plane. So you do kind of probably see from what I'm telling you here that this is not your usual jet fighter where you just zoom climb to altitude, try and keep that energy up, and, well, kind of do your thing for the entire battle. It's a very different sort of playstyle. You go up very early, you glide across the battlefield, you try and find your targets, you have that energy superiority one way or another as long as you have fuel, and you have to manage your fuel quite wisely, get some kills, get out, get back to the battlefield, rearm and repeat. But it is very effective at that, and it can be quite the deadly contender in the skies at 8.0 especially. I think it's a very, very potent aircraft. It always has been, and it probably always will be. And I would like to show you all just that. So with the stats out of the way, with my first kind of initial talk of the airplane out of the way, let's get ourselves into some clips instead and hopefully wreck some planes along the way. Alright everyone, so as you can see then, we are chilling on the airfield, and I'm kind of a bit confused right now because there's some ME-262s all the way out there. That's player ME-262s. How? Are we... I think we may be spawning late or something, but first things first, let's actually take off of this airfield. You can see our little carriage down below. Oh my god, what is the plane doing? So, yeah, that was not very fun. Our wheel just went bye-bye, but we are still not taking off. Interesting start. I think I'll probably meet you in the next one, because I do not think we are going to be taking off here. Maybe I'll be able to salvage this. We will certainly find out in just a second. Holy moly. Well, whatever that was, whatever just happened to me, that has never happened to me before. So, great first introduction to this plane, isn't it? I'll see you when we're repaired. Alright, attempt number 2 at actually taking off with this plane then. I have got no clue what just happened to my gear on the first attempt, but we will just take those flaps up for another quick second. We'll get up to speed and, well, hopefully we can actually take off this time around. Can we? Can I? May I? Please, no, not again! What in the world? Okay. We'll give that a third attempt. Alright, attempt number 3 then, and there's even more late spawners here with me. I really don't know since when the game is staggering the spawns that hard. We're going to leave the flaps down this time. Maybe that is the key to this. I have never had this issue in the past, but maybe Gaijin has changed that approach, and maybe it's just going to be absolutely impossible for us to take off. But there you can see now, the gear just disappearing. Usually you can actually see it fall off too, so I don't know, this whole incident is like super weird. The gear actually used to work like this in the Second World War though, so a little side note right there, and well, it did actually used to bounce off the runway quite hard, so the pilots did need to kind of try and get out of the way of that thing as quickly as possible before it came bouncing back into the plane to try and get them. So we're going to go for quite a steep climb here now. Get as much altitude out of that initial burst of fuel as possible. As you can see, we're already down to 5 minutes, so we have to make use of that as soon as we can. We're then going to get ourselves to like maybe 4.5, 5k of altitude, which, well, a BR of 8.0 is like more than you're ever going to get in any of the other planes that you will find. And then we will just slowly coast around on like 10-20% engine power to conserve as much of that fuel as possible so we can use it in any engagements we find along the way. But you can see right here we're just actually gaining speed now on a 25-degree climb as the rocket engines become more and more efficient, and our weight also becomes rather low here with only 4 minutes of fuel left. Easy 500 kilometers an hour. We're going to start leveling it out here because everyone on the map is honestly ways and ways below us. We're going to keep the thing at 100% real quick though, get that acceleration in to get ourselves to like 700-800 kilometers an hour, and then we are going to tune the engine down a good bunch just here, and you can see I can easily just keep this at like 30%, even lower it a bit more, and well, hold on to that 700 kilometers an hour that I so much like. We could even turn it off completely, which is a very valid approach. You can just turn it off and go into a slight dive right here. As you can see, we're not really losing much of any speed, losing a bit of altitude, but we're so far above the enemies that it doesn't really matter to us anyways. Now, the fights have already broken out down below, and we do have to be a bit wary here in dives, because we can very much rip our wings, so you don't want to just straight dive in. That is probably going to end up messing you up. J29 here, though, being very much separated, and very much just head-onning me. We're going to get that engine going. We're going to use our energy advantage here to just get on his tail. As you can see, very nice and maneuverable plane too. He is going to be kind of helpless about this one, I think. Let me zoom in. And you can see, it's a bit hard to make those bullets meet the plane, which is a bit of an issue here, because I did just run out of ammo, unfortunately. But once you do hit the enemies, they go absolutely kaboom. So, very, very, very nice right there. We will unfortunately have to leave our team behind after that initial kill, and get back to the base in order to go and rearm real quick, and then we will be right back in the action in just a second. But I think you just saw kind of like the first approach of playstyle and just how good this plane really is at this BR, because I absolutely had every bit of an energy advantage right there, which you couldn't do a thing about. And, well, given how fast I turn, also was really nicely able to just absolutely outmaneuver him with the energy advantage I had and just get the kill in. And you can see here where we're approaching 920 kilometers an hour right now and 80% engine thrust. I'm just kind of lowering the thrust I'm giving the engine right now because I do not want to overspeed and rip my wings in a straight line. That is, as I said previously, kind of a valid concern, so you do want to watch out with that. And you can see here just how well the air brake off a rudder actually works. Alright everyone, and back we are then for the second clip of the day. We're going to try and conserve the ammo a bit better this time around. You are actually very limited on that with this plane. You only do get 120 shots, so you want to try and make every shot count, and usually with a bit of practice and actually having a feeling for the guns, it's really not the hardest thing in the world. For me, it's just more that I haven't played this thing in quite a while, so it is definitely something to get used to again. Now the gear animation seems to be kind of broken though, unfortunately, which is really sad because it wasn't actually that bad. You really actually saw the gear fall down and bounce off the runway, and it was quite the cool thing to be watching. Unfortunately, that does currently not seem to be a thing anymore, so I will not be able to show you all that. But with that said, same approach as the last time. We're going to go and grab ourselves a good bunch of altitude, get ourselves up to like 4.5k, and then we are just slowly going to coast over the battlefield, pick out our targets. Ideally, of course, as usual, those that are nicely, slightly separated, and just NFG fight them until we get a very nice shot on them, and hopefully we will only use a few shots of ammo this time around so that we can get a second or even a third kill in. So let's see how well that one is going to go. For the time being, nothing really new for you all, so I will just continue on up, continue getting energy, continue over to the battlefield, and I'll see you all when we're a bit closer. Alright, so back we are, getting myself right into the battle here, and you can see this is going to be quite the messy one, red and blue all around me, so we're going to have to try and see if we cannot pick off a slowed down target like a turning F-86F, for example. We will try and latch onto that guy a bit better. There's an MD-452 here as well. We'll probably have to throttle up now to make sure that we can keep up with this madness. I don't want to go too fast, but I don't want to go too slow. It's going to be quite the balance to be striking here. And don't want to overload brake anything either. And there we go. That is me with 12 bullets left then, unfortunately, which is kind of very low. We will have to reorient ourselves in the fight here. There's an F-86 on the back of that friendly. I think that is hopefully the only... Oh, enemy remaining. No, it isn't. There's an F9, F8 right here. That nearly just got us. And he will run out of energy in fighting us, but we will run out of fuel in fighting him. So we'll have to see how this one's going to go for us. Looking like it's pretty well now. We've only got 12 shots. We've got to make them count here. And we only got a hit out of it. That's very unfortunate. I cannot really do anything about this F9, F8 now. Except for deterring him or doing this. No, maybe not. Come on. There we go. I hope that helps the team. We got a kill from that. We actually got a kill from that. We actually got a kill from ramming that dude out of the skies. I didn't have any ammo left, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have made it back to rearm and come back before my team would have lost. So I think that's the best we could have done there. Very happy, actually, that we got the kill from that. I'll be back with you all in the next one. Alright, back we are in action, and there's actually a scimitar that made it to my altitude, which is pretty interesting indeed. Very, very fast in that short amount of time. We're going to have to gain some speed here and not head on him. Jesus Christ, that is pretty scary to say the least. We're going to go after him, but he's probably faster than us in a straight line. I'm not actually quite sure, but, well, you can see he definitely is. So we're going to just go regain our altitude, and we're going to try and head on with life, and it's probably going to come back at us on the later stage. That was kind of scary, not going to lie. But for the time being, going to go regain that speed, regain a bit more altitude, so we definitely have an energy advantage here, and hopefully that F9F is just going to go for the TU4. It looks like he's trying to go for me, though, which is going to be quite interesting here. This could be really, really scary indeed. We've got an F9F, we've got an F86F, both around us. And we'll see how it goes. F9F is diving away, so we're not going to bother him much more. We're going to go for the F86 here instead. That is fighting the MiG-17, or just going straight? I'm not quite sure. We'll head for him. Oh. I think he's missing a rudder right now, which, I mean, technically he's dead? Should we just leave him? Should we get him? I'm not sure. No, he's still maneuvering. We should get him. There he goes. Okay. F-86 out of the way. I think he could have probably done a bunch of damage still. Even though flying without a rotor is not the most precise thing, that doesn't mean he's out of the game. So I think taking him out there was the right decision, probably. Even though I would have liked to just give the other dude the kill. Now the scimitar here, just flying through our lines, wreaking havoc, is a bit of an issue. But there's also other planes back there that we should probably try and focus on. We've only got 2 minutes of fuel remaining. At 1 minute of fuel, latest, it is going to be time to gain altitude and just glide back, which is like the last solution for us, basically. I mean, we've got 44 bullets of ammo, so we should probably try and spend those before we're heading back, and then afterwards we will go and rearm. So let's see here. Scimitar's diving in. I don't think we can really kill the Scimitar here. It's way too fast. He's caping up his speed. He's playing it smart. He's not really something that we can get out of the way, at least not in our current state. So we will focus on the J-29 here instead. We'll help out on that fight. We're, in all honesty, a bit fast here. So let's go and shed some of that speed. And Scimitar is actually turning around, which I don't like. I'm going to help out down here for a start, I guess. So, let's try that. Missed. We will go and shed some speed, and we'll go and grab that speed back. And we crit him. And we just narrowly avoided the missile, I think. And we sparked. The sparking part not really being the most fun thing in the world, I have to say. That rarely happens with these guns, but unfortunately, that is going to have to be what it is. We did crit him. Maybe we're going to get the kill. It looks like he's plunging down. We got the kill. Beautiful. That's 2 kills for us. We will be heading back to the base now. We're out of ammo and we're nearly out of fuel. I think the scimitar's also out of the way. So our team doing very, very well here indeed. And quite the fun fight right there, I'll have to say. Really thoroughly enjoy that. We're going to make sure we've got enough altitude. I think 3K is honestly very, very fine for gliding back home if we need to. With a minute of fuel left, honestly, we can just get this thing up to 900 kilometers an hour and probably coast over at like 40% thrust. So, we're going to do that. And you can see, right, that the playstyle here is quite different to what you're maybe used to from actual jets. But this rocket thing, it's fun. It's really enjoyable. I'm having a blast. I hope you all are too. But regardless, let's coast back over and I'll probably meet you for the landing then. Hopefully we can finally go through that a bit more in depth so you know what to actually expect when landing this very little plane. Alright, so we're coming in for landing here and there is still a good bunch of enemies left for my team to kill, so I'm somewhat confident we're going to make it this time around. And, well, first things first, you want to lose that altitude somewhat early if you still have engine power. Otherwise, do not shed too much altitude, by no means, of course. And then just shed a good bunch of speed. You want to make sure that you're coming in rather slow, because, as I said previously, you only have a skid and a center gear at the very back, and that is it. So you do want to make sure to not hit your wings on the runway while you're still going too fast. You want to make sure to weave a bit. You want to make sure to get gear down and then the landing flaps down so that you can fly nice and slow while still maintaining some lift. And then you just wiggle it down with the rudder air brake. Make sure that you are going nice and slow. Make sure that those wings are level. If you have some ammo left in the cannons, definitely shoot it at this point to make sure that you slow down a bit faster, and then just brake and brake and brake and pray and hope that you're going to be fine in terms of the wings. I do eventually get my flaps up just to kind of make sure that we are plunged into that runway a bit faster, that we brake. And you do want to make sure that with A and D you do balance out your wings for as long as possible up until the point that you lose all the lift, because you're that slow anyways, and at that point the skids on the wings that you have will save you from really any major damage and you can land safely. But definitely make sure to watch out for those wings, because if you don't and those wings hit the runway at like well, I don't know, 300 kilometers an hour or however fast you may be going, that's going to be a big whoopsie and you're probably going to fail your landing and die. So really, really watch out for that. There's a few intricacies to this, but if you follow along with that somewhat nicely and kind of know what you're doing, after a while you will not have any issues. You can fuel back up and get right back into it. Alright everyone, so welcome back to another one. I've just got the whole thing with the flaps and the elevator and the takeoff explained to me in the chat here by Sampling Crown. He saw this happening to me and made us bugging into the runway and explained that this was actually a bug, so hopefully it's going to get fixed soon. But this way we are unfortunately a bit late to the action right here. We're going to go and not gain quite as much altitude as usual. We'll gain some speed instead, and well, then everybody having fun down below in the chat, and then we'll get ourselves right into the action. So there's like 3 F-86Fs right here. There's a G91 out there. We'll kind of have to choose which one to engage now. Probably ideally the one that's going to turn, so let's hope there is going to be one that's going to turn as the MiG-15 just goes up in flames down below. Unfortunately, Super Mystere coming in here too. I'm not going to kind of be willing to dive in here just yet. Let's get ourselves on the back right here now, and let's see what we can kill first. The G91 seems to be losing a bit of speed. He's going in a turn. I think he's going to be one of the more dangerous ones, so we want to probably take him out. crit him right there. Beautiful. Probably not going to kill him that way. Maybe we are. I don't know. He seems to be tumbling. We'll see if we get a kill in a second. We do. Beautiful. F86, F2 in a turn right here. We're kind of in a bit of a precarious spot in terms of overload. So I do not want to overdo that if I can avoid it. F86 being off to my side here. We should have the acceleration advantage, not the speed advantage. So let's see if we can catch up to him. Does not seem to be the case. So let's regain some altitude and turn back on the rest of that fight instead. MiG-15 going straight after an F-86F. I hope he's going to turn, because otherwise I'm probably going to struggle to catch up here, as the other F-86 is actually coming back in for me, probably. Let's go straight up, see if he's going to fall for it. He isn't. Okay. So he's going to ignore us. He's going to go onto the other ME-163 instead, which is totally fine by me. Hopefully that other ME-163 knows to turn, because, well, otherwise I'll have a bit of an issue here. We're at 2 minutes 27 of fuel, and I think our team's getting killed quite heavily, so could end up being an issue. The other F-86 does know that I'm on his back, so he's not going to go for it, which is totally fine. At least the ME-163 is somewhat a bit more safe. And we will go and turn onto this part of the fight instead, where people do not seem to have quite that much of an oversight, and expose themselves quite heavily, but we miss all our shots. Beautiful. F-86, F-25 right there. I'm not sure where the other guy went. There he is. Holy moly, I've got 86 shots. This is going to be a hard one to hit. This F-86 here, though. Ah, boy. I've got someone behind me as well. We're going to try and get this F-86 here. Ah, God. Come on. Come on, come on. Still got a chance. No, we don't. Okay. Lol. Still took one out. Well, unfortunately, not the most successful game to end it off then, but still quite a decent one, I would say. I really still thoroughly enjoyed that. We were in a bit of an up tier there, so we did of course have some slight issues with keeping up with the speed, but if you find the people turning, you can very much still get the drop on them, and especially if you're a lot better than me at making the bullets connect after a bit of practicing this thing, you will be doing just fine indeed. But with that said, let's go and hop out to the main menu, and then kind of just have a little bit of a debriefing on this plane. I'll see you there. Alright everyone, so welcome back to the hangar, to our beautiful little ME-163, and well, welcome back to the little debriefing. So honestly, I have to say I had absolutely no issues finding good clips with this plane, and that is even despite me not having any little bit of practice in using this thing. I'm pretty sure I haven't played it in like the last 2 or 3 years, and well, while I've always loved it, of course, I kind of needed to move on to different planes, to grind out different planes, and it's been a while since I've been playing this thing, and I would say you can definitely feel it, you know, making the bullets connect is really not easy in this plane, and you do need a good bit of practice to make that happen consistently, and that is honestly an important part of this plane, especially given how low amounts of ammo you have. You also got to mind yourself to not spam those bullets too much, but well, the general playing principle still very much sticks with me, and you can see just how effective it is and how well it works at this plane, especially with the jets that you come up against not really having the strongest jet engines yet, so them lacking a lot of that acceleration. If they do get themselves into turns and bleed some of that energy, you've got the upper hand by miles to come, and you can convert that into some beautiful, beautiful plays, as you were hopefully able to see right there. So I have to say, honestly, my verdict on this plane, it is still absolutely great. I would wholeheartedly recommend it to each and every one of you to actually go for this plane, try it out, have some fun with it. It is really unique compared to anything else I've ever flown. I mean, there is some ME-262s with some rockets in the German tech tree now that didn't used to be there when the ME-163 first came out in War Thunder, so those may be quite fun too, but honestly, overall, just the way that this plane works, I think it is great. It is highly underrated in the War Thunder community these days. I think it doesn't feel like a lot of people are still playing it for whatever reason, but if you know how to play it, if you get the principle behind it, and if you do play it smart, you can play this thing to such a good advantage and actually get so many kills out of it. I'm honestly really still loving every single minute with it, and it's great. It's great. I think it is one of the best planes that you can probably get at the 8.0 BR. So definitely, if you're going down the German tech tree, make sure to check it out. Me, myself, you can see I'm a total fanboy of this thing, and I will continue to love it forever on. And hopefully a few of you lads trying this thing out will very much agree with me on that one and actually enjoy it as much as I do. So please let me know down below in the comments what you think of this plane. Are you maybe playing it yourself? And how much of a success story do you have playing it? I hope you're all enjoying it as much as I do, of course, but let me know your thoughts down below. And with that, I'm going to end it here. So as usual, if you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to hit that like button down below. That does always help out the channel a ton. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider hitting that subscribe button right down below, as well as that bell icon, to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. And with all that out of the way, as usual guys, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I'll catch you in the next one very soon. Ciao.